You're probably wondering, should I own a home service business? And if so, what are the best ones to own? And in this video, we are going to answer that very question by going through 10 of the most popular home services to start, buy, or own, and what tier ranking we give them.
I don't. I mean, look, we talked about these extensively beforehand because we knew doing this one raw would just not work out because we both have some. We each got a veto, and we'll be sure to point out when one of us did or did not, veto the other's opinion on it. But we'll get to that shortly. But we're going to start things off strong with the HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Now, as a business, it is pretty vital, especially here in the South. But in the North, when it's cold, you want your heat running. So it's one of those trades that people call evergreen, and I think for good reason.
Usually whenever you're getting work done on your HVAC system, it's because it's an emergency. It's something, if your air conditioning's out, you need to get it done. If your heat is out and it's cold, you need to get it done. So it's something where the customer doesn't have a lot of power to shop around options and fight back. They just need to get someone the heck out there ASAP. So another thing I like about it a lot, it has good profit margins. You're talking usually 20 to 40% profit margins, depending on how well run it is and how you're structuring the internal parts of the business. So great margins, emergency need. And if that weren't all enough, it's not that expensive to get started. And it, you have a good, solid competitive moat in the fact that it takes some real skill to own and operate a business like this. So for all of those reasons, Ryan and I actually agreed hands down that HVAC was an S tier.
You're just not going to find too many industries where every time it breaks, it's probably an emergency. Like there's so few that kind of hit that category. So we're going to move on to the next one.
Next one, we have electrical contracting. This is one of the three big trades as well. This one, Ryan and I didn't fully.
No, it's S tier. It is such a purely, like, if you get electrical stuff wrong in your house, like with everything becoming more electric, yes, I'm going to call an electrician. I'm not going to be like, well, I'll wait a week to get it fixed. And you're over here being like, no, you are completely pushing again. You wanted B tier.
I wanted B tier. The reason is electrical contracting has a lot lower margins on average for just basic electrical work than something like HVAC or plumbing. So, I mean, it's one of those great trades. It does require a high level of skill. It's not that expensive to start. The margins are just rougher. If you get into certain types of electrical work, it's a lot easier than something like HVAC or plumbing to just lose your ass on it, because the labor is less obvious and concrete and predictable, I think. Just from the stories I've heard of owners in this space. The one big caveat that I gave Ryan is there are some great niches within the electrical contracting space where you can make great margins. We have a friend that owns one that is in a very specific niche, specifically smart home electrical contracting, where he's making 40% margins. We know another business. It is. We know another business owner that's in a very, very specific niche of commercial electrical contracting that is making sometimes as much as 50 or 60% margins. So there's a big caveat here. I am going to rank it an A tier simply because it's not that easy to get into some of those niches. They're a much higher level of skill to have. That means it's harder to find the labor for them too. It's harder to expand the business and find the work, but those niches can be great as well.
I so strongly disagree with this. We will be talking after
the record will show that.
The record does show that, yes. But we did this one, next one, unanimous plumbing.
Yeah. This is an S tier business.
Yeah.
If your plumbing goes out, no matter where in the country you are, you gotta get that shit fixed. You don't.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. You don't really have an option, and the average person is not fixing their own plumbing. They have no idea what to do.
You shouldn't, probably. I mean,
the average plumber is, they're so booked out, it's ridiculous. The one knock I will give on this is it is difficult to find and keep good labor for plumbing, because it's so easy to start your own plumbing business because there's just so much work to go around. So, that's one of the struggles of the business.
But that could also, I think, be said with HVAC. You can be fixing and tuning up rigs. So not as much of an issue, but I did want to point out that one thing I've read and seen people talk about is that plumbing is becoming more and more extensive and intricate with newer and newer housings and even just new appliances that use plumbing. So plumbing and pipe fitters are going to continuously be in demand, if not more in demand, now that we have more devices coming along. It's not a trade that's ever going to be phased out, but honestly, it's probably going to take more training now.
It is. And I think, it just gets better and better. The harder this labor market gets, the more people, I think millennials and the generations coming, just they don't really know how to work on plumbing. And I think that's going to be here to stay.
Granted, you mess up bad with plumbing, even worse than with electrical. So I don't mind calling a plumber and paying for that. I know myself.
Yeah.
Next one we did agree on pretty handily, pest control. That was solid B.
Pest control is going to be a B tier. I think part of the reason, so one of the things, I'll start with what I like about pest control a lot. When you do get pest control contracts, the recurring revenue of those is pretty nice. If you do get like solid pest control contracts where you're coming out regularly. Selling pest control, I think it's something that people don't necessarily feel an immediate need for. It's something that there's a lot of home remedies out there for, and it's something that people try to handle on their own a lot of times. So it can be difficult to acquire the customers. It's not quite as easy as electrical contracting, HVAC, or plumbing. You might have to have like a really good door-to-door team doing pest control or something like that. You might need to be, really following up with people and have great sales knowledge. So it can be a little bit difficult to really crack into this business.
And now initially my gut was put it in C tier, but it has a superpower. And that superpower is pairing perfectly with our next business, landscaping. You combine landscaping with your pest control, it's a 1-2 punch of a subscription. Because most people, if they're buying landscaping, they want it coming on a timer. You add some pest control in for an extra X amount of bucks per month. Well, now you're selling two services for the price of one, and we put landscaping solidly in B tier right next to it.
Landscaping is a very similar type of thing. People can cut their own grass. They can they can pull their own weeds. A lot of people will do that. It's a lower skilled thing than trying to work on your electrical systems, your plumbing, your HVAC, something like that. So your average person can do it. But landscaping, one thing I'll say about it is it can be particularly fantastic in a nice upscale market, especially if you've got some kind of specialty landscaping that you're doing. I have some friends in town that are in specialty landscaping, and they do very well for themselves, great profit margins, very high ticket landscaping too. So there's some great niches in there to be had. That being said, the labor is going to be a killer on landscaping. It is going to be very difficult to keep good labor and to manage them well.
And especially because the barrier of entry to that is even lower than what at least the ones above, there's a trade skill you need. You can just get a mower and start mowing. So like there's children who are, eating your lunch in that respect. So
you're competing with driving by a Home Depot and finding someone to do it too.
Finding a Ryobi for 150. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next we got cleaning.
Cleaning.
True.
So cleaning, home cleaning. This one we took down on the tier list a little bit. We gave this one a C.
We are already all doing it, hopefully, in our own home. So we're already employing ourselves.
Cleaning is one of those things. Ryan's big point about this when we got into this that I agree with is when things start to get tight a little bit, cleaning is one of those things you're probably going to cut. You're going to say, I could be doing a little bit more cleaning in my own home.
Mm-hmm.
So these are contracts that are going to be potentially a little bit harder to keep, and customers that are going to be maybe a little bit more difficult to acquire. The labor is going to be a challenge on this. It's very easy to start a cleaning business. Very easy. But
we had a friend of ours who was in one of our groups that said he had an issue where he was scheduling, he had a clean company he was partnering with and ended up not working out in the long run. But one of the things that they found was happening was cleaning teams would go and then they'd tell the people, hey, we're doing this on the side. Here's our number. We'll do it for X amount less. And they just were finding that these guys were just not getting booked out, but they were literally just starting their own business in the business, which ethics aside, It's just because it's that easy. So
It's that easy.
it can get swiped out from under you pretty quick. And honestly, even if you are getting the big contracts like the buildings and the churches and the schools, again, if budgets are tighter, they're just going to reduce the amount that they use you, which will inevitably cut into the profit margin.
And as a home service goes, I mean, commercial cleaning, I think, is a little bit of a different story. Commercial cleaning is a little bit better. As home services go, I think cleaning just tends to be a little bit of a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. It's a very standardized thing. It's not like you need the most magical, incredible cleaners to come clean your place. You just want your place to get cleaned. You want people that aren't going to steal from you.
Mhm.
That's kind of what people are looking for. And there's a lot of cleaning companies out there. So it tends to be a little bit of a race to the bottom.
Definitely is. But I think one thing that nobody wants to clean is their pool, which is pool maintenance. Everybody who has a pool never likes the part of maintaining it. And I think that's why we put pool cleaning so much further up than regular cleaning.
So pool maintenance, we put as a B tier. I still don't think it's something that's quite as needed and like necessary as these trades up here, because you could get into a situation where things are getting tight. You want to clean your own pool. Not everyone has a pool. It's a more limited market.
But if you have a pool, odds are you're not going to be feeling that pinch as much. You're probably going to
a little bit more high on the economic scale.
There is a bit more skill to cleaning a pool. It's not running a vacuum. It's not wiping something down. You have chemicals. You have actual stuff. And much like, why it's above cleaning in the landscaping is that, yes, can somebody do it? But 9 times out of 10, somebody will do it a few times and say, this sucks. I don't want to be out here. I would rather just pay somebody. Cleaning, you're in your own house. It's air conditioned, whatever.
Cleaning, you're in the person's home. You're under the microscope of like how you're doing it, the way you are, the way you act, everything like that. Pool maintenance, you're under a little bit less scrutiny from the homeowner. They're, go out back, do your thing. I think those contracts are just a little bit stickier, a little bit easier to keep when you get them, because there is also that upscale homeowner that has a pool is going to be just a little bit more likely to stick with it versus the cleaning. That's a lot more broad based and something more people are going to tap in and out of as things go well for them or don't go well for them economically. So I think all those things, the recurring contracts that you get, the recurring maintenance work that you get for pools is really great. So B tier.
Now, painting is the next one up, and painting is a bit of a weird one because, well, yes, if you've painted your own place, you understand how painting isn't that easy, but it's also not that often. So it's one of those services where while skilled to a degree, is not terribly needed nor oftenly used. So that's why we put it solidly next to cleaning in the C tier.
Yeah, it's something that, I would say the same thing as cleaning. You're going to do a lot better in upscale, high-end cleaning or painting rather. But painting is just, it's a tough one. It's so easy to go start your own painting business. It's going to be hard to keep that labor force and really build it out. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to acquire your customers as well. It's not something that's an emergent need. It's something that people have time to go do some research on, which is going to make it a little bit more of a race to the bottom. In a lot of cases, it's a little bit harder to differentiate yourself from with painting. There's different like grades of coat that you can do with painting, and that's about the only way to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, it's just it is a industry where you need those high end and returning customers or those commercial ones. But right now we're doing home services. Unless you're in an upscale neighborhood that's always trying to, change up their stuff, you are going to be fighting to get regular business most of the time, at least from the people that we've talked to in the industry.
Yep. So the next one that we had is roofing. Roofing's a good industry because there's very high ticket prices and it's an emergent need. If your roof is leaking or broken or caved in or something, you got to get it fixed.
Minimum every 10 years, you have to replace your roof is what most people say. And it's a common insurance. It's commonly paid for through insurance.
Which is a good and a bad thing. On the one hand, as a roofing business owner, you're going to have these insurance claims that bring you business. But on the other hand, you have to deal with insurance companies who are terrible in every sense of the word. And Ryan knows that better than anyone. He works in a company that deals exclusively with insurance, and it is
And I have
stressful.
Yeah, and many friends, and even my dad's business. He's a chiropractor, and they do insurance. And by God, they will fight tooth and nail to not pay a very small amount of money for something as simple as an adjustment. So
roofing, we put in the B tier. As tough as it is to deal with insurance, there is a good side of that as well. The insurance claims, that means you're going to have regular business. It is an emergent need. It's higher ticket, so you're going to make good profit from it from each job. Some of the struggles, though, the labor market, anyone can really work on roofing. It's not a super
which is
skilled.
also the negative.
Exactly.
We've talked to quite a few people who have been roofers and people who have owned roofing companies, and resoundingly, they all kind of say stay away. So, I guess, insurance, I would say necessity is S tier. You need a roof. Margins are A tier. The insurance, how to get that money though, and the people, bring it down to B tier, but it's still not C tier. So that's kind of where we put it. Now, this one I am vehemently against putting as high as it was. This is a luxury service in and of itself. It only works in a high ticket market or a large density market. So by all intents and purposes, this is C tier, maybe a generous half like squinty B tier. But you have this one pretty solidly up there.
I like this one a lot. I know someone who's in this business.
Absolutely.
And it's a great business. The one big disclaimer I will say is that you need to be in a very populous area to make this work very well. You need to be focusing on higher end business, the same as pool maintenance. But the people who are going to go for this are usually going to get it done regularly.
This is pure insanity that you put gutter cleaning next to the rest of those. I mean, really, you go up on a
business model.
I mean, look, I was up there as a child cleaning out the gutters, preventing flooding. It is not hard to do. You need to be a certain type of person to not want to clean your gutters. And that's also only in regions where you get a lot of blockages.
And that certain type of person that does go for it usually is going to be a repeat customer. Really, the reason that I like it so much, the reason I didn't rank it lower, is because your average customer for gutter cleaning is going to be a repeat customer. They might get it done, a couple times a year. And so you just start to stack those and add those up. Similar to the pool maintenance, you've got a nice kind of recurring contract, and they just want someone that's going to do a good job.
Now, as hot as I think you must be to be doing this, the one thing I will say, and I'll give you this point, I will concede here. If you were like these 4 services, and let's just say I'll add snow removal, that is like the holy grail of Northeastern service businesses. The same guy's company will clean your gutters, do your landscaping, pest control. If you got a pool, he'll do that too on there, and then he'll also do snow removal for you in the winter. Mm-hmm. That is actually like that. Those 5 most contractors in the Northeast, especially in like the tri-state, that's pretty much how people keep a year-round business, is that every season they're right back doing something for you. And it's not, they don't charge a whole heck of a lot, honestly. I'd say middle and up, solidly middle and up can afford them, or at least have family members who will do it for a discount. So honestly, on their own, these things kind of struggle. But if you're packaging them together and you're serving one person, you keep saying, hey, you like what I did here? I do this. Odds are you can add it on for less than it would be straight out. And people just say, yeah, whatever, just tack it onto the bill. I'll see you in 3 months. Mm-hmm. That's where you make the money.
And so when you own one of these businesses, you might be able to start, cross-selling these services to past customers. You've had a customer doing landscaping for 5 years, and all of a sudden you start offering gutter cleaning. They might take you up on that too, and you just start to stack those services and increase the average ticket price, increase your profit margins as well.
Oh, if you're doing landscaping, you better figure out, just buy some ladders. Now you do gutter cleaning, get a pest thing on a guy's back. Now you do pest control. I mean, heck, I've seen the new wave of being like dog poop picker uppers. Like, hey, we'll come by once a week to pick up your dog poop or whatever. People will pay for that.
Great. Yeah.
So like, I think when it comes to the B tier businesses, if you package them, you go up to like A or S tier. You got to package though, because on their own, these things can be rough.
But they're lend themselves very well to packaging. A
Mhm.
lot better than any of the other businesses that are listed.
I don't know. HVAC plumbing is kind of like the god tier package that we see a lot of times when people have them.
It's a more complex service to just jump into, though. If you're, trained, maybe if you're cross trained in all the trades already.
Oh no, I'm saying like, I don't think cross train. I'm saying like if you have an HVAC company adding a plumbing company, usually, I mean, we've seen quite a few listings recently. A lot of HVAC / plumbing companies where they got like 3 plumbers and 5 HVAC guys. That's kind of the new broken meta for services. That's kind of where the market's heading, where people are just comboing.
But I would say it's an easier cross sell with some of these like landscaping and pool maintenance. Like, hey, I'm already outside. Do you want me to just do this while I'm outside? Versus, hey, I'm your trusted plumber. So if anything ever goes wrong with the air conditioning, I can fix that too.
Well, yeah, not the same guy, but they're like, oh, my company also does HVAC. Like you're already in the home, and I get that. Frankly, I don't want my plumber to be my HVAC guy. I'd like to keep those separate. If I'm being completely transparent, I don't need that cross contamination there. No pun intended.
So let us know what you think in the comments of our rankings for these tiers of home service businesses. This is something that we're going to be doing again as well. We're going to come with a whole new list of home services.
Oh, we got plenty of stuff to rank. And shout out in the comments if you think that it's as insane as I do to think that gutter cleaning is a B tier on its own, mind you, service. And let us know where we got things right, where we got things wrong, and what services you'd like to see us ranked.
Let us know in the comments too if you are an electrical contractor and you're sitting here saying, why does Ryan think we're doing that well? We're actually struggling. My margins are not as good as my friend who has an HVAC company.
Or you don't have to say anything.
You
actually don't have to comment.
You also don't have
That's
to say
fine.
anything if you disagree with.
If that is you, go to scaleforsale.com and talk to us, and let's help you get those margins better. Actually, that's probably more or less what you should be doing.
Absolutely. And until the next time, we'll see what you think of these home services. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.